genuinely pleased with how The Last Wayward Sons turned out. Like, I think specifically the first episode was a fucking banger of an episode. Like, a good episode for
Nice.
the show, and I think a good episode for us too.
Oh, nice.
Because I've been percolating on something ever since. Is
Never forgotten.
absolutely fucking destroys me. It randomly popped into my head today too. Ugh.
All right, hello, internet.
I'm so glad how that fucking turned out. Oh,
Okay, where's all my stuff? There's my stuff. There we go.
I don't know, Boston. You're on the other side
Man,
of
I
the
don't
fucking
know
country.
either. I just work here. Okay,
But you get paid for doing that, so shouldn't it be we volunteer here?
that's right. Hey, Cosmic Cow, nice to see you again.
Yup.
All right, are you guys ready?
No.
Okay.
I'm never. Do you want to see the grand total of my show notes so far today? I have
Is it a
all
blank
of my
page?
different separations for the many different fucking shows that we do.
Mhm.
And then I've got TVGP, and it's blank. It's literally blank. I haven't written any show notes.
Why? I got my trusty notebook here. We're good.
I'm just gonna write 2 games in there, and then fucking call it a day,
There you
and
go.
then move my cursor down to the titles.
Okay. Oh, stretch it out. Okay. Okay. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Nope. I can feel it happening. Me. I can feel it happening like as I was doing the countdown.
Do re mi fa sol la ti. Do re mi fa sol la ti.
That's right. All right, take 2. Starting in 3.
This is
2.
the roguelike show, remember?
I hate you so much. I messed it up that one time. I put that in the Outcast though because it was too good not to. Where I was like, "We're talking about all the RPGs," and I was like, "Nope, that's not. We're not." Okay, take 2. All right, take 3. Starting in 3, 2,
All the hits we missed.
1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpear
Hi, distraction.
and the Nymph.
This Missouri lives rent-free in my mind.
Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
Nymph is probably referring to our Patreon exclusive watchcast, The Wayward Sons, where he and Moon are going through and watching literally every episode of Supernatural. There's like 7 episodes, so it should be fine. If you can, they've been doing, they're like episode 8 or 10 at this
I
point.
think
So
we're on 10 now. 10 will be the newest one coming out.
okay, yeah, so they're still kind of here in the intro. So if you want to get in on the ground floor, you can sign up over there on the Patreon page. It is exclusive at the $5 tier or higher. The $5 tier is the one we recommend. It gets you everything. Anything above and beyond that, of course, is super appreciated. Tell your rich friends. Tell them it's expensive.
Yes.
We need to buy stuff.
Yes. Tell them it's like one of those apps where you pay like, $6,000 a month to have like a diamond logo on your phone or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
I will Photoshop a diamond logo of the TVGP logo so fast. I'm sure there's a filter or something. The other shows over there, the Patreon exclusive Outcast, we're talking about all of the stuff that is going on in the rest of our lives other than video games. That is a very spicy one this week. If you're going to listen to any of them, last week's one and this week's one are both very good. And then you get early access to Critical Misses. Sure, Moon and I are catching up on all the meaty hits we missed. And We Roguelike It, where Moon and I are playing through as many roguelikes as we can get our hands on. Suckered Moon into a never-ending Sisyphean task.
Yes, I just want to say I'm very disappointed by how much my name shows up during this intro. Like, it feels problematic for me for some reason.
Yeah,
There's a reason my name's only attached to one other show.
That's right. I think you're smarter than I am. But all
you
of that
guys just
stuff.
have a passion for it. That's all.
That's true. I don't like talking.
I enjoy doing
but
it
I like
as well.
podcasting.
I am just.
Yeah.
unfortunately cannot swing it. So.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But if you can swing a couple of bucks over there, please do so at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
It's all of it. It's all about the marketing, man. You
I'm
just gotta...
sorry. Look at chat. Look at chat.
Yeah, so if anyone's watching the video version, someone in chat asked, is Moon on drugs or is he just trying a new look? Moon, unfortunately, is when he's in sunglasses mode, that means he has a migraine, which is super unfortunate, unfun, but he does look like he's on a World Series of Poker, which is very cool.
Yes.
He does look like he's too cool for school on
That's
our
right.
podcast.
Too cool for
If
this
only
podcast,
I had a chain wallet.
That's
I was say I am trying to talk him into getting a chain wallet. He believes a Kia Soul is a good enough reason to own one.
That's
I
right.
think he needs a motorcycle.
Please listen to the Outcast if you'd like to listen more about this entire topic. All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
So I did not have a lot of time to play things or do stuff. Except for the important stuff like going to the movies and seeing the most important film franchise of all time.
That's right.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm kidding. Check out the Outcast for more. Yep. I played Marvel Snap. I mean, we don't even hold up the video, Boston. I'm not going to be talking about it long enough to be bothered with it. They did some tweaks to it this season. They did like a mid-season tweak where now to rank up, instead of 10 cubes, you only need 7. And
interesting.
You still get the 2 and the 4 and the 8 for the snap process, but it's 7 instead of 10. And when you rank up in a multiplier of 10, you go, instead of going to like 75, you go to 73, for example.
Interesting.
So it's a really interesting like tweak to the way the matchmaking works, which I'm fine with. I have been right between 73 and 79, trying to push for that 80, but no dice.
I also like the... Oh, God.
No, you go ahead.
As someone who doesn't play it anymore, I like the idea of that risk reward. Where it's like, man, if I can get 8, like if we can double snap and get that 8 and I can win this, I could get 1 level. I like that idea of having that reward of an entire level is at play right now. It's a cool idea. Yeah,
and like if you're at like 73 and 6 out of 7, that's 2 whole ranks.
Yeah,
all
that's
in
cool.
one match. Like it's a big shift, and I think Mackie said it best in the Discord. Like he was saying, it feels a lot less grindy, and it does. Like for whatever reason, taking those 3 off the end, it makes it feel less grindy. It just makes it feel more ebbs and flowy for me, where I'm going up and down in ranks all the time. Because I'm still at that thing where I'll win like 10 matches in a row, be on a big roll, and then I'll lose 6 matches in a row, and every single one of them are 8 cubers, and it's just like, come on.
Right.
Like, I don't know why I just can't seem to get a handle on this kind of situation. But yeah, it's Marvel Snap. It's fun. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure I almost have the full collection of cards now as well. A bunch of cards just ranked down, and I only got the choice of 1 to choose from. I was like, oh great, so there's that one.
Right.
and then I immediately got like 2 other cards in my collection level. But yeah, it's stupid. It's fun. I'm still enjoying playing it, and because I'm primarily dropping my MODOK deck at the moment, I'm enjoying this whole thing where I'll get the board set up how I want it, and then I'll snap right on turn 5, drop the MODOK, people see the MODOK, and then immediately retreat. It's like, yeah, I got your 2, punk.
That's right. Take a free 2.
I can't get 8 to save my life anymore, but I can sure get 2s every now and again.
Right.
Right, so, that's fun. And the only other thing I played this week was Jedi Survivor.
How many hours are you into it now?
Dude, I don't know.
Oh, okay. You just seemed like you were struggling to see what you could say, so...
Yes.
Did you put in more than 2 hours?
Yes.
Okay. So you're off You're off the island.
I went to the moon. It turns out the moon is haunted.
Yes,
perfect. As it should be.
By the way, I for some reason this week I've heard the moon is haunted like 19 times in like 17 different things.
Okay.
And every time, I just think of Destiny.
Yeah.
Every time.
Man.
That wizard did come from the moon.
Because it's haunted, apparently.
That's right.
Did you ever solve the mystery of that? You're the Destiny head.
Ghosts. Really, it's ghost pyramid ghost. I think that's a Destiny thing. Yeah.
So they're Egyptian.
Yes. Great. Oh boy. Okay. Let's see. I did the moon thing. I did the secondary base thing. Now I'm going to go rescue a person because he has important information for the rebellion. That makes sense to me.
I feel like that's always a plot point
my door complaining.
Of Star Wars, so that's probably a pretty safe guess.
Well, this
many
is technically
died to bring you this podcast.
I think this is technically before the rebellion actually really started, like the rebellion we know as.
So it's the plans to kick off.
It's the whole thing with Saw Gerrera who kicked off the rebellion, but it's not.
Yes.
You know,
right?
There's a whole weird Star Wars
he's
thing.
He's the illegitimate arm of the rebellion that they refuse to acknowledge. He's a terrorist.
Well, I was gonna say, he's the arm of the rebellion that everyone looks at and says they do not represent us.
Yeah.
They're the PMCs of the rebellion, one might say. Yes, things have happened. I don't have any new. Well, wait, no. I was about to say I don't have any new abilities, and then I realized I do have a new ability.
Oh.
I have the ability to spray black goo all over the floor like a big freak.
So you get like ink powers?
Basically, yes.
And you have to catch it on fire and make a trail.
It's
basically gunpowder, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes. I am an octopus. All life converges to crabs kind of thing.
Yeah, but now you can have 8 lightsabers.
No, I'm not General Grievous, dude. Come on.
Bummer.
See, Star Wars already did that joke, so...
I know. General Grievous is cool.
Yes, he is. I'm liking the story still. I found familiar faces, we will say. I have been reunited and it feels so good.
Yes.
One character in particular is such a good change and character evolution from where you left them in the first game. It's spectacularly good what they've done with that character and how they have evolved their abilities and their opinions on the world. And yet still they're the same snarky, smack-talking a-hole that they were in the first game.
Right.
And it's so good. Like, the bounce is real and the bounce is great. Like, it's really good writing between everybody.
So you see some real good growth, but it's not like they completely changed the character from one game to another.
And
nice.
There is one female character in particular who I'm really proud of. Like, the way they have developed their costume into a not over-sexualized costume. It's very much this is what someone who does what they're doing would wear, and it's not a dress with a boob window or anything like that.
Sure.
It's not a bikini armor plus 10.
Right. Yes.
That's
it's
nice
really appropriate world and character building to be like, yeah, you might need this if you're doing what you're doing for your life right now. And it's just, so far it's been really fun. Like, overall the game is a solid sequel, like something which I was hoping for but not expecting.
Given this year so far.
Right.
Given video games for the past 15 years, dude. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to finishing it and then doing the eventual collectathon run to collect all the collectibles so I can uninstall the 160 gigabytes it takes up.
God, that's so much.
I could install 2 Call of Duties for the same price. I'm kidding. I could install a half of a Call of Duty for the same price. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, what's your Call of Duty?
Maybe Call of Duty 1.
Right.
Yes. Even the Modern Warfare remake is bigger than that. Oh no, I mean, that's all I've really been playing. I'm looking forward to getting further in this. I'm sure I will have more opinions the further I get into the story. I mean, the only other thing I've really been playing is Loop Hero, which you'll hear us talk about if you listen to We Rogue Like It.
Yep.
Patron Early Access, and Ghostwire Tokyo, which is this month's Game Club game.
I have a very funny story about Ghostwire Tokyo, about the ending of the game, which isn't a spoiler, but Moon and I were kind of at the same point last week of the game very clearly. You repair something and you go to use it, and the game is like, this is a point of no return. You, for real, like, no, seriously. You miss out on these missions. You can't come back. Don't, seriously. And I was like, both Moon and I had the same experience of being like, all right, I guess, okay, I'm going to put it down for right now, and then next time I have, like, a couple of hours to sit down, then I'll go do this thing, and I'll just wrap up the game, and we'll be good. So I sent Moon a message the other day of like, yes, I got like a bunch of snacks ready, I got my drink, got all comfy, I had like maybe 3 hours to play, sit down, over in less than an hour. So it's just like, okay, I'll take it, but those 3 chapters went by much faster than the first 4 did. All right, sure. So
yep, and you've been talking about it in Discord as well. Like, I love the fact that there is a lot of collectibles in this game. Let's not make mistakes about that.
Right.
But I love the fact that the game gives you equipable items which are collectible trackers. Like,
yeah, so essentially when you do the like pulsing move out of your hand, it will draw a line to a collectible. And I've been using that as I've been picking up some collectibles, and it's a lot of fun where like I'll do the pulsing move and it'll draw a green arrow because I'm looking for KK's notes, like up into a building, like the 5th floor of a building. I'm like, what am I supposed to? Okay, let's go over there and let's try and figure out what is happening. I don't understand what I'm gonna do. I run into like this whole other piece of content I had no idea about.
Yep, there's been some. Yeah, I can't talk about it because we have a show dedicated to talking about that game.
It's a game that has a lot of cool design decisions that we don't often see in open world games, in a way that really makes me appreciate it. Of like, yeah, all right, yeah, like maybe it doesn't make sense, but I kind of wish more games had this thing of like, you're X meters away from a collectible, we're just going to show you where it is. Like you're close enough to it. Just. You shouldn't have to pull up a YouTube video or someone hacked a Google map to put all the collectibles on it. Like, you shouldn't have to do that.
Did you notice the audio cue as well? When you're within the range of certain collectibles, it does different audio cues when the beacon hits it. Yeah, it's really cool.
My favorite one is the relics where cat just meow. It's really good. Yep. Play Ghostwire Tokyo. It's on Game Pass and PS Plus.
Yes, we will be talking about it next week. You'll get that episode,
correct? Next week.
Okay. Oh god, next week I've got so much to do on Saturday. Oh no, someone please,
someone please help me. Tell your rich friends to go pay a lot on Patreon so we can just do this as our job.
Yes, please. I will happily stream 6 hours a day if you guys want to do that. I will become a full-time streamer. I don't care.
Yep.
I'll buy a new chair and then sit in this room, get it remodeled with all of the purple lights that everyone seems to like so much.
Yeah, get the LEDs and everything.
I mean,
good stuff.
You know.
Yeah.
That is the good stuff. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Nim, why don't you take over while I change my basement to purple lighting really quick?
Yeah, have fun with the Twitch coloring back there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
Just like that, baby.
That's right. Thanks for your subscriptions.
He has for those of you listening, he has a Wi-Fi bulb behind him, and he just changed the color to purple. So he's already there. Angel Eye and I were able to play this week. Last week I wasn't able to because my kids had a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't have a whole lot of free time to be able to do that. But we played Battlefront 2042 or whatever we've been playing. I was horrible this week.
Just having a real off week.
My bad luck was strong. I was constantly getting shot in the back no matter what, and the whole thing, like constantly checking my back. It's like, okay, there's nobody around me. I turn around to go run around a corner, and then I get sniped in the back from like some dude up in a mountain somewhere. And it's like,
right. Or there's the whole squad in a building just being like, hey, look, he's over there.
So I gave up on killing people and spent pretty much all of my games just playing straight support. So since I play as medic, I'm throwing down ammo crates, I'm reviving people, I'm healing people, and I was getting tons of experience doing that.
Nice.
But my biggest I hate playing this game right now was we were on a brand new level that neither of us had been on. It's like an Arctic level where it's all just frozen. There's like these massive crevasses and everything, and there's like a random like oil rig in the middle of it, like an ocean oil rig, and it all looks really cool. But I could not get a kill to save my life at all, no matter what. I don't know what my problem was, but at one point I spawned on Angel Eye, who had figured out, oh hey, there's a giant cliff face here, and there is nothing but engineers and snipers on this cliff face. Engineers are shooting down aircraft and shooting at tanks. The snipers are all up there just sniping whatever moves. So I was like, all right, being the only medic up there, I was like, well, I'm just going to sit here and spend my game supporting them. So I'm throwing down like ammo caches. I'm healing people. I'm reviving people. I did that for probably a solid 15, 20 minutes of the match.
So much XP because people don't do that.
Like, I had just given up so hard on trying to get a kill that like, all right, this is what I'm doing now. I got to the point that I was able to summon a tank, so I had one airlifted to our location.
Oh, jeez.
Which an engineer then promptly climbed into, drove it to the edge, and just started lighting everything up with it. While there's other engineers sitting there like healing it and then focusing on aircraft and stuff. Like great. I mean, it was coming together. All I had to do was give up, and it started working. But yeah, it's still fun despite me just not being able to hit the broadside of a barn sometimes and just yelling at the TV. So,
like, I'll be honest, like that's one of the reasons I've always loved the Battlefield games over the Call of Duty games, is because in those games I feel like there are roles I can take where killing people is not the most important. Like in my heyday, the Battlefield 3-4 days, like I was a hell of a pilot, and I would just I would take a helicopter. I would fly it around the map, get kills with it, be a mobile spawn point for people in the team to jump out and start capturing like points at the back end where people weren't really fighting, and then work their way forwards. And that always felt good to me, is to be like, yeah, I'm not in the mood, or I'm not doing particularly well with the point the bang stick at the enemy and make them fall over kind of thing. So. Anytime I was in that mood, I was like, yeah, I'll medic, I'll engineer, I'll do any one of the other things so I don't have to worry about my KD ratio.
Right.
Yeah, and I still think it's really weird that a lot of shooters haven't really, even with the new stuff with Call of Duty, there's not a whole lot for support. There's not a whole lot where it's like, if you're just not feeling it, your only option is to you're either shooting people to support your team or that's it.
Yeah.
And like you were saying with Battlefield, there's so much more I could be doing. I could be putting down locations on the map. I can be spotting enemies for the snipers to find, and then I get a part of that experience as well. So there's so much more squad stuff that you can do where it's I'm not killing people, but I'm supporting the team, and they're killing the heck out of everybody. So
yeah, and there's that great feeling in Battlefield when you're the class that's got the anti-tank mines, and you just in the process of running across the map, you're just bloop, 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 and you throw 3 mines down, and then like 10 minutes later in the match, you get the hit indicator and you're not shooting at anybody, and then it's like you killed this person, AT mine, this person, AT mine, this person, AT mine. It's like, yeah, I did.
I've gotten stuff like that before too, where it's like I'll spot a tank and then I'll run away because I'm a medic. There's no way I'm taking on a tank.
Yeah.
So I run away, and yeah, somebody else had put mines down. The tank hits it, and then I get experience points for the spot assist kill.
Yeah.
On a tank.
Right.
It's like, even though I didn't do anything, I just said, "Hey, there's a tank there," and ran away.
Nice.
So
they would not have seen it without you. That's the key thing to know, is they would not have known that tank was there unless you hadn't put that little red icon above it.
Right.
Like, there's no way they're seeing that tank otherwise.
But they still have a lot of cool maps. So the fact that we hadn't come across this one yet, with as much as we've been playing, was a real nice surprise.
Yeah, that's cool.
The map was genuinely fun to try to figure out and see what was happening, and trying to get up on the oil tanker or oil platform, because there was a position that we had to take in there too. So it was finding out, oh, there's like zip lines everywhere for you to get to, or there's a ladder underneath that you can climb up to get in there, you know, or you can just jump off a plane and land, whatever. So it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't having a lot of fun. But yeah, so my next game after that, Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Boston was kind enough to text me and be like, "Hey, doofus, you don't have to beat the game."
Well,
he didn't say it that way, but
yeah, I think with the screenshots that I sent you, because I was like, you know what? It's a little weird to get to adventure mode on a seasonal character. I'm just going to send him like 3 or 4 screenshots of like game settings, then adventure mode, then difficulty, then click continue. Like it's this weird thing. And like once I got into it, I was like, I know how to do it, but I didn't know how to explain it without looking at it. It's like, yeah, it is kind of weird and out of place.
The process that didn't really, because I was even telling you before you sent me those pictures. We were like, I'm pretty sure there's a way to choose it, and I'm like, there might have been. I may have just skipped past it when it told me in big red letters, "Hey, idiot, do you want adventure mode?" And I was just like, no, you know. So
yeah, they really hacked in seasonal stuff in adventure mode in this game, and you can kind of tell now, because it's a little, once you know it's there, like you'll know it forever, but the first time it's sort of like, there's an option here.
Yeah. But yeah, so when you sent me those pictures, I had beaten Diablo 3 by that point.
Oh, okay.
So, which I needed those pictures anyway, because it doesn't automatically throw you in adventure mode. You still have to go out there and choose adventure mode.
Yeah, it's just like, keep playing the game, man. It's like, no, I want to do the other thing.
Thank you for the pictures. Because I wasn't going to be finding it anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, now I've knocked out the vast majority of the, what am I on, part 3 or 4 out of 9 quests, or whatever they're calling it for the season. Yeah. They're individual things that all have tasks within them.
Yeah.
Because now I went from normal mode to I'm now on expert mode doing the rifts, and I think I have to beat one on, I can't remember if it's Torment 1 or if I have to beat one on expert mode. But either way, I'm like right there. I'm just grinding to get the better equipment for my character, so that way I can just keep bumping up the difficulty and keep doing that.
I love doing those rifts too. So if anyone hasn't played the Diablo 3 seasonal stuff, they have 2 types of rifts. The basic rift is essentially a multi-floor dungeon that just has random enemies in them. You and I are playing on PlayStation.
200 enemies or whatever.
Yeah, and it's essentially like just kill everything until a boss spawns, kill them, and then just loot bars out of them. Yeah, and then you go back, and if you're above level 70, they give you a greater rift key, which is essentially the same thing, but you're doing it on a time limit. And the faster you do it, if you kind of beat the par time, you get more and better loot. And it's not super hard, but I like it a lot because everything in it is randomized. And you and I are playing on PlayStation, so we can get the horrible nightmare that is the Last of Us enemy types, which are horrific.
I did not know I did run into these one time so far.
Yep.
And I was going to ask you about it, because
you're like, why am I fighting clickers? Like, what's happening?
Yeah,
here?
It's like, I was like, they don't immediately look like clickers. They just look like they heavily resemble them.
Yeah.
But then but like there's no mention of it whatsoever. And even looking at the names for the ones that are named, they don't reference that they're a clicker. So it's like, okay, maybe I haven't played it in forever, so maybe this is just some new enemy type that they that they just threw in there or whatever. But now that you're saying that, I'm like, okay, so that did happen.
Yeah,
I've only had it happen once so far.
Yeah, and it was
only like there was like a massive. It was like one of the bigger guys.
Yeah,
and that was the only way I was able to tell because his head looked like the cauliflower head that everyone talks about. So
and they leave behind this horrible like gaseous substance that does so much damage on like higher torment levels.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. My necromancer is 68, 69. Okay. So I'm like You're right there at 70. Yeah. I've also been doing the adventuring, like the bounties on the adventure map, which I absolutely love that. And I'm pretty sure they've done this from the start, but it's like they'll tell you, hey, there's an explanation point here. There's a bounty here. As soon as you drop into that map, there's an arrow to point you in a direction.
It's so that way right over here, man.
Yeah, that way you're not just wandering an entire zone. It's like, no, you head in this direction and you will find the bounty and you will kill them. And a lot of times...
Oh, go ahead.
But I was going to say, a lot of times they've been like bosses for me so far. Like they've been on the same level of a boss, which has then gotten me different trophies that I haven't unlocked playing with the Necromancer yet.
Right.
So, because the Necromancer came with its own set of trophies attached to it.
That's
so,
true.
Because like I had completely I didn't know until I had beaten the game, but one of the trophies was for your bone armor. Pull bones from the Skeleton King to create bone armor, and that was like a bronze or a silver trophy or something like that. And I never used it on him because I'd like wasted them. Like there wasn't a point. I couldn't even use it to begin with. So now I went back and he happened to be a bounty one time, and it was just there. I was like, oh yeah, I need to do this for the trophy, and pulled it. It's like, all right, cool. I got my bounty and I got a trophy. So,
have you gotten Kunai's cube yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. If you look
I am aware of it, but I'm not...
I think if you look in Act 2, there's a place called like the Ruins of Secheron or something. If you go in there and you go all the way to the end, it'll be there. There won't be a bounty for it.
I know I have a seasonal quest to go pick up. Maybe it's in Act 3. I don't know if it's the same thing, but there's like some cube or thing that it wants me to get in Act 3. And so I have to go find what that is.
Remember. Yeah, it's called the Ruins of Secheron because you have to do it every season, so I remember what that place is. And then this season, they actually have a really cool thing. There's like an altar in the town, the very first town.
You have to get like the rift or components or whatever to upgrade your character.
It's like an additional skill tree almost that applies to all of your seasonal characters. And at the beginning, it's nothing crazy where it's like, you do 200 extra damage. Hooray! And it's like, okay, cool. But I just unlocked one. It's probably like my fourth or fifth one because every time you unlock one, the requirements for unlocking the next one get way harder. And the one I just unlocked was in 25% increased speed uncapped. So essentially, like, you are booking through the map now, and it's great.
I need to grab that because you go so slow with these characters.
They do feel really slow,
Yeah. But yeah, so right now I am just working on trying to get this season done, and then just trying to work up to higher and higher levels. Like I'm trying to get to 70 so I can get that cube so that I can do the expert level rift, so that'll knock off one thing for my season. And then the rest of it just seems like basically just continue doing the bounties and the rifts, and eventually you'll just start knocking, because it's like asking for like specific items or something like that for you to find. I'm like, I have no clue what this is that you're asking me to look for. So, but one of them specifically calls out like, hey, you can find these in like Act 4 or, whatever.
Yeah. So each time you complete 5 bounties in one act and you go back to Tyrael in the camp, he'll give you a cache. And when you open that, it spits out so much loot. And a lot of it is going to be like orange and green items. But there's always going to be one item per act that drops just from that, and that'll be what you use for some of that stuff. There's like a wing and like a piece of a paper and a jar and stuff like that.
Well, so there was even one where there was a purple object on the ground and I couldn't pick it up. It kept telling me that my inventory was full. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I go and just completely empty out my inventory, throw everything in the share chest, whatever. Go back, still can't pick it up, and I'm like, what is this item? It's not named or anything.
What is this thing?
Yeah, so I look it up, and they're like, oh yeah, this is like a blood iron stone or something
it's
like
the blood
that.
shards.
You use this. There's a character in your camp that you trade it, and you get items for. So if it's saying that you're full, just go trade a bunch of them and get some random items.
Yep.
So I found the person, did that, got a bunch of crap. Couple of it was actually pretty decent, so I threw it on my character and then went back and grabbed the one shard that I had sitting there that was annoying me.
Yep.
Yeah, that system's really cool because you pick up blood shards from doing kind of a lot of things, and then you turn it into Kadala for essentially. It's not really gambling. It's almost like a gotcha machine, but you get to pick
it's just
the
like a
slot.
random.
Yeah, and you get to pick the slot.
I could pick a scythe.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see what kind of, what the parameters and everything was going to be for it. But as far as I am in the game, I knew it was going to be something at least decent. If not, I could scrap it and get all the scrap items from the armorer for it, which I do a lot.
And you can get orange stuff from there too, and some pretty good stuff. So it's a system that's actually pretty nice.
So it is fun just walking around wrecking stuff. Even upping the difficulty, it usually takes like 1 or 2 rift runs and maybe a bounty or a full account or act bounty.
Yep.
And then you're right back to just laying waste to everything, and then you got to go back and then you got to readjust the difficulty, and it's got a good loop to it.
Yeah, so, I like playing the adventure mode a lot because you really get to do whatever you want to do and whatever timeline you want to do, where it's like, I'm sick of playing Act 2. I'm just going to play Act 5 now, or I haven't played Act 1 for a while. I'm just going to do a bunch of these. It's really, and it's like the perfect watching something or listening to something sort of thing. Like you want to play something or listen to a podcast, Diablo adventure mode is the best.
Yeah, it's the best. I don't have to I just hold down X and keep tapping R2 to summon my mages, and that's all I have to do. And if I feel my controller vibrate, I have to look up at the screen and be like, oh crap, I need bone armor.
I gotta hit L1, get a potion.
Every once I had to use a potion for the first time.
Yep.
What was it, Friday? Because I was going up against like I forget the tier, but like the gold tier boss where it's got like the gold embossing on the nameplate and everything.
Oh yeah.
And that one like almost took me out in like 2 hits, and I'm like, "What is going on? This is not supposed to be this way."
Yeah,
I gotta pay attention. But yeah, it's fun that they also throw that stuff in there. Did they get rid of the invaders? Does this still have it?
The invaders should still be in there, but I haven't seen any in a while because nobody else is playing it. So maybe since you and I are playing it, whenever I die, I'll probably invade you. Now that I totally forgot about it until you mentioned it, but I think it requires someone on your friends list to die, and then their ghost comes into your game. Because I totally forgot about that.
The last time I played this, it seemed like pretty consistently that I was getting hit up with invaders and just barely pulling through that. And that's why it creeps into the back of my mind every time I go to up the difficulty by 1. I'm like, but what if I get an invader?
Right. What if I see that red phantom coming in? Yeah.
And it's really cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I wish they expanded that system because it was really cool. Because they would just flat out tell you, "Oh yeah, this killed Boston," at this time or whatever. And now you got items, and you have a
you and I would get items.
Mail back to you or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I
forgot you can send stuff to your friends too. I should do that.
So yeah, Diablo 3 still pretty good.
Still great.
And I'm looking forward to 4 at some point. So, but that is all I've been playing this week.
All right. Shock of all shocks. All I've been playing is Tears of the Kingdom with like literally every waking moment of this week. I do want to talk about this a little bit differently this week. So I want to start off with, I'm not going to talk about any like spoiler stuff, but I want to start off with the definitely not spoiler stuff here at the beginning. And then I'll mention when I'm going to move into maybe more spoilery stuff. I think I'm more impressed by the building stuff than I was expecting to be, because I mentioned it last week that was the thing, like a Banjo and Kazooie nuts and bolts sort of thing. I was really worried about how much the building was going to be pushing me away from this game, because that's typically not my strength. But I've been really happy that at no point is the building required. It's really, there's going to be a lot of shrines that require the building, but that's kind of the place you use it the most. But out in the world, I feel like there's very little times where it's absolutely required, as opposed to maybe a better way to get to something you're looking to, or having a clever solution to something that's in your way, or how do I get up the side of this mountain? Oh, maybe I can just build this thing and then go do it.
Let's say, do you think it's like a response to Breath of the Wild and just the crazy random physics stuff that people were figuring out and breaking in game?
It really does. Like, it really does feel like, wow, they liked doing that. Let's just make this that game. Like, we're just gonna make a game out of it. And the amount of stuff that you can build feels really good, and I think I've been really happy with the shrines that require you to build, because it works really well for me. Hold on.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of GIFs about this game, a lot of video compilations.
Yes,
a lot of airships.
Yeah,
those poor Koroks getting sent onto the other side of the planet.
The funniest thing about those Koroks is, like, every once in a while you'll run into the Koroks that you see out in the field, and they have this giant pack, and they're on their back, kind of like a turtle that's been flipped over, and they're like, "Please help me, I have to go find my friend." And every time I see one of those, I'm like, "Good luck, buddy, peace," and just run the other way. Like, I do not want to deal with creating you some sort of thing to get you over there to your buddy. It's not usually the fun part of the game for me quite yet. But I have been enjoying the shrines, because when you start a shrine, it'll give you that pop-up of, like, here's the shrine's name, and it'll give you a little, like, 2 or 3 word thing of, like rotational force, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what that means. Interesting. And then you kind of start messing around with it, and you're like, oh, okay, so if I do this, and I make that turn, and then I connect this to that other thing, then that launches me over to this other thing. All right, cool, yeah. So, like, I feel like, for me, it's been less of a requirement out in the world to do the building stuff, and a lot of that has been focused in the shrines, where that stuff feels really good. I keep forgetting that I have the ascent power that you get on the tutorial island. So it's a lot of, like, how am I gonna get to the top of this? If only there was a better way. And it's like, dude, you can just swim through rocks. Like, just get under it and just swim up. Like, are you stuck in this well? Just go to the top of the mountain by using this one power. And every time I think of that, I'm like, yes, I still have that power. I feel like I have been less hampered by the the item durability this time, because of the fuse ability. Because a lot of the robots and machines and stuff around the world will drop parts, and then you can immediately fuse those onto your weapons that will make them do more damage or last longer or things like that. I wish there was a better menu to do that, because essentially, if you want to fuse something to a weapon and you have the thing in your inventory, you have to go in your inventory, you have to drop it on the ground, use the fuse power, and then fuse it to your weapon. There's no, like, fuse this to my equipped weapon or anything, which feels kind of inelegant in a way that's a little bit frustrating. But it's certainly not the end of the world at all. I feel like more so than the first game, I'm running across a lot more side quests. And it's not even in like the stables, because I feel like that's where you ran into a lot of them in the first game. But in this game, I feel like I'm just kind of exploring, and out in the middle of nowhere, there's a tent with a campfire. I'm like, well, I'm assuming there's someone over there. There's probably something going on over there. So I wander over there, and it's like, yeah, there's kind of a long quest line that I just ran into in the middle of a forest somewhere, and there's way more of that in this game, and I think that makes me feel better about kind of the moment-to-moment gameplay. It's a much more populated world than in the first one, and I think that goes a really long way to making every corner of the game feel a lot more interesting. Because I think I ran into that problem in the first one too, of like, boy, there just feels like there isn't a lot going on here.
That's always been my complaint with Zelda. As much as I loved Zelda, it always feels like, okay, here's one or two towns or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just the rest of the world and it's dead.
Yeah.
And there's not like a good economy or like anything like that, which, like I said, I still love the hell out of the games, but it's just one of those things, especially in Ocarina of Time, even knowing what that came out on the 64. It's like, okay, you have Hyrule Castle, you have the ranch, kind of. There's like people there, but nothing for you to do. And then there's like the village that you came from, and that's it for a bit. But...
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm having a lot more fun in this one, is that there's, I think it's like 12 or 15 stables, and then there's a whole bunch of actually fairly large towns. And then there's all of the towers, your like Borgia towers essentially around the game. And I feel like there's something else too. You have all your shrines like normal too. But there feels like there's a lot more stuff. And a lot of times you're going into a town and it's like, yeah, here's 4 or 5 side quests that are not related to the shrine. If there is a shrine in the town. And then sometimes to do what you need to do with a tower, you need to complete a quest there too. So it feels a lot better from that perspective, other than like, I guess I'm just gonna wander around and see what I stumble upon. More
alive.
Yeah, and there's a little bit more focus to it, I think, which helps a lot, because I think that was kind of one of our complaints, or at least one of my complaints about Breath of the Wild, is like, you got started and you got off Tutorial Island, and then what am I gonna do? What else do I have for non-spoiler stuff? I think that's about it.
You done any of the duplication stuff? Glitches, because I will tell you that every day this week my son comes to me with an update on a new duplication glitch that has been found.
I've heard a bunch of them, and I'm actually feeling like I'm doing okay in the game, kind of with rupees and food and weapons and stuff, so I haven't really been tempted by it. The only thing I feel like I'm consistently running out of is arrows, but I feel like I'm actually at a pretty good spot with those right now too, because I have like 30 or 40 some, which is pretty good. I haven't done any of those, but I've heard they're fairly easy to do, so maybe at some point I will need to do them, but not at the moment.
I just think it's funny.
Yeah. Okay. Spoiler time. Boop boop. Whatever the low health noise in Zelda is. Little bit more spoiler stuff here. So give you a minute to kind of use the handy chapter select to maybe scooch forward onto the releases if you choose to do so.
Also, why would you invoke one of the worst sound effects in video games as the spoiler warning?
I'm just happy that it's not in the game anymore. Mostly because everything one-shots you. But if you're down to like that 1 heart or half heart, it does it 2 or 3 times and then fades away, which is really great.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank you, Zelda. Okay, so a little bit more spoiler stuff. Before the game launched, we knew about the Sky Island stuff, and we knew about the kind of on-the-ground Hyrule stuff. There's a third area. There's a massive underground cavern system that I did not know about. That is...
Found the Underdark?
Yeah, it's...
Nice.
Hey, did you like Dragon's Dogma? Because it's basically that down there. It is pitch black, and you are lighting your way through either throwing stuff or kind of shooting these. I don't remember what they call them, but they're essentially like little light flower bulbs that you can throw.
I believe, and I haven't played it, and I'm pretty sure Boston hasn't played it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Elden Ring did exactly this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. You get a mission nearly immediately where they're like, it's like a big purple and red hole in the ground. You should probably jump in there and check it out. And I'm like, maybe in a little bit. That doesn't really sound like my jam, but we'll do that here pretty shortly. And when I got into it, it's like, yeah, man, here's the for real stuff. Everything is deadly down here. It is pitch black. Go nuts. Figure it out. That's your problem. I was like, oh, all right, this is actually pretty neat. I kind of wasn't expecting that. So that's been pretty fun. I've been slowly going through that as I've been getting a little bit stronger in the game. I've been kind of delving back in there every once in a while because I feel like the first time I went in there, the game was just like, yeah, like the real Zelda starts here, baby. We're gonna mess you up. And it's like, okay, great, cool. That's no thanks. So that has been pretty interesting. I did my first dungeon. I did the Wind Temple. I'm absolutely not going to spoil it, but I really loved getting to the dungeon, sort of traversing your way there. Especially the music was really good. The music's really, really good in this game, and pretty sparse in a way that I think works for kind of an open world game. And the dungeon itself was really cool. It had a really solid puzzle. You kind of had to do 5 mini puzzles throughout the dungeon. It had 3 or 4 floors, I think. And you're kind of going up and down and through and around these different floors to solve this puzzle. And then when I did all that, you had a pretty cool boss fight that I was pretty surprised about. So like I'm sure that I have 3 more because like one of the first things they give you in the game is like, hey, we're hearing from 4 places, wink, that there's some weird things going on. Wink. So it very much feels like Link to the Past, where it's like, just go do these 4 dungeons and that'll get you started on where you're going. So that was real impressive. I was really, really happy with that because I think myself and a lot of other people didn't like like we talked about last week, didn't really like the Divine Beasts from the first one. It was sort of like, this isn't really the dungeon experience you're kind of looking for, and this felt much more like a Zelda dungeon in like a real proper way. Oh gosh, what else?
So you remember you were talking about the construction company signs where you have to get the guys to hold up the construction company signs?
Uh-huh.
I saw a meme which was Atlas with the face replaced.
With that guy.
Atlas, the Greek god, with the face replaced with that guy, and he's holding up a sign which is holding up the earth.
That's really good. I like that.
Which is just chef's kiss of like memery right there.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the photo hunt thing in Breath of the Wild where there's like, there are 12 places in the world where you can take
memories or whatever?
Yeah, the memories.
Yeah.
I finished the quest line to do that in... It's a different thing in a way that I think is really cool. That I did that in this. I'm not going to spoil it. You get the quest line from Impa really, really early on, which big shout out to Zelda 1 Return of Impa. And I finished that. I want to give one piece of warning, though. The last step of that quest, which you will definitely know what it is when you are on the last step of that, you need 2 full stamina bars to complete the quest. So don't go do that thing until you have 2 stamina bars, because it for sure will not let you finish it. And you can't use any stamina replenishing stuff to do it. You actually have to have 2 full stamina bars, which luckily I did because I had just upgraded my stamina bars to that point right before I did that. So that was pretty lucky.
And my son was saying that he was on the last 2 memories and he couldn't figure out what he needed to do. So we were kind of both just like, well, maybe it's because I'm pretty sure the last one in Breath of the Wild had something to do with Hyrule Castle just before fighting Ganon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, maybe you have to be further along in the story or whatever to, get those.
You can get all of them at the beginning. As soon as Impa gives you the quest, you can do all of them. There were 1 or 2 that were in kind of weird places, and the easiest way that I had to find them was do the thing with the tower, and then this is it's a super minor spoiler. Every time you activate a tower, it shoots you at the top of it, and you're like all the way way high in the air. It's a handy way to get back to the Sky Islands if you don't want to fast travel there. But it's also a really good way of looking for all the monoliths because they glow that like yellowish color.
Okay.
So I would do that where I'm like, I think there's like 12 of them or something. So every time I was looking for one, I'd just go into a new area. I hadn't found one yet, shoot myself out of the tower, and then be like, oh, there's one over there. I'm going to mark it, and I'll slowly make my way over there. Cool. I think the thing that I've been having the most fun with in this is I've just been spending most of my time exploring, and in a more aimless way than I think I usually do in these games, because a lot of times I'm just kind of looking for a shrine. Oh, I found one, but on the way I found a new cave system because there's caves in this game, and each time you dive into a cave, there's usually kind of like a small puzzle and maybe a small boss battle in there. I'm looking for all of the world's wells for this lady that is in the Lookout Landing, I think is like the main city you run into. She's like, hey, there's 55 wells. You want to find them all for me? And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a thing I could get behind. Let's do that. And I think that's the thing I feel the most surprised about, where I have a ton of quests and I have a ton of side quests that are in my inventory. And some of the most fun side quests have been the Great Fairy side quests. Those have been really great. And
are they still creepy?
They're still real big in a way that I like really respect. But you kind of have to do a series of interconnected side quests to get them to open up, as opposed to, I think Breath of the Wild just is like, pay me a whole ton of money. And it's like, I don't want to really do that, please. But I think that's what's been keeping me playing so much this week, has just been, like we talked about last week, the great part about good open world games. It's like, all right, I see a shrine over there, I'm gonna go there, and you do the zigzag thing. We're like, what's this thing? Ooh, I haven't taken a picture of this thing yet. And there's a new town over there, let me go pick up that stuff. And like 2 hours later, you make it to the shrine you forgot you were going to, but you had 15 adventures along the way. And I think that's the stuff that I really love about great open world games like this, that I don't know that I've played one that has been this satisfying since maybe like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. One where I'm just like, I want to do everything that I run into. Like, everything in here is super cool. Let's just squeeze as much as we can out of this game. And I like haven't even made much progress in the main story because I'm just too busy like uncovering the map and doing all this stuff, and someone needs this upgrade, and here's this other thing, and it's been really good. And I think if there's a complaint to be leveraged, I wish that treasure chests and some of these quests were a little bit more rewarding, because I feel like it can sometimes be frustrating when you go through like a whole cave system and you fight a rough enemy, or you fight a like, which looks so disgusting in this game. It's a real bummer. I love the likes in Zelda, and they look so gross. And then you like do all this hard stuff, and you open the chest, and it gives you 5 arrows, and you're like, you couldn't even give me like 20. Yeah, like you couldn't even give me 20 rupees or something. Like, it's really frustrating. I do have to say I've been happy with one of my favorite quest lines so far has been you run into this guy who works at a newspaper almost immediately in the game, and he has no idea who you are, and you go through and you're doing a pretty long side quest in each one of the stables. You'll run into him and you'll do a whole big side quest where you essentially like get the story and you get the scoop, and then you show him all the information. The reason I've been doing a lot of those is, one, they give you a ton of rupees at the end of each one you do. But two, when you go accept that mission, he's like, oh, you should go talk to my boss over here in kind of over by the Rhodey village. And she's like, do you ever get tired of slipping on stuff in the rain? I'm like, everybody is, yes. She's like, how about I give you, if you complete all of my news stories, basically, if you complete all my quest, you can have this whole suit of armor that makes it so you never slip on stuff in the rain. I was like, sure thing, boss. Let me get right on that. Yeah, I'm your man. Let's do it. And
Job number one.
100%. I have one piece of armor already, and it has already made a huge difference for how that stuff feels. So it's kind of interesting because some of the stuff in the game does feel really rewarding, where you're like, wow, that sounds like it's going to break this game in the most awesome way possible. And sometimes it's sort of like, I could have maybe taken more than like a banana for that quest reward. That would have been great.
Hey, Donkey Kong disagrees.
That's right. He loves them. But all I want to do is play this game, which I feel like I haven't felt like for an open world game especially, and I feel like you can probably go listen to the old episodes, but I feel like maybe I didn't necessarily feel like that about Breath of the Wild kind of immediately, but I really just want to keep playing. I would like to play this game right now. I would like to be playing it as many hours as I humanly can. It is really great. I am having a real blast, and it's just clicking with me.
Out of curiosity, how is this with your little one? Like, is she having fun watching you, or?
I think it was Nimp I was telling him in Discord that I'm always like, oh man, look at this, look how cool this thing is, and she's like, yeah, that's interesting, Daddy, sure. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough, cool. It's just like one of the coolest, largest things I've seen in video games. But okay,
a unicorn or something.
That's right. I should build a unicorn. That should be way into it.
Meanwhile, my daughter's like hassling my son all the time.
Like, give me the controller. You're doing it wrong.
Go do the thing over here. What's that over there?
That's right. What's this sparkly thing? Yeah, I think part of the thing that feels great is that I don't have to worry about anything, because it is very much a Nintendo game, and like there's gonna be nothing objectionable about it. There's like almost no voice acting in it anyway, which is also great. Screw the Zelda voice actor haters. I'm like the only one that likes her voice. But there's like a level of really not caring about it, which is I'm kind of surprised about. But
people don't. Why don't they like Zelda's voice?
I have no idea. She's a woman in a video game. I don't know. I never know about these things.
Okay.
Like to me, I always think it's just like, how dare a woman speak in a video game? Get Marcus Phoenix back in here. Like that's always the thing I think.
I will say the first time you hear her talk in Breath of the Wild, it did throw me off a little bit that she had an English.
Yeah, I'm always like,
she's accent.
Is she supposed to be British?
Yeah,
but
I mean, outside of that, I was like, all right, yeah, I guess it is.
She has a ton of voice lines in this, especially as you go through some of the optional stuff. And I'm really happy with all of them.
So it doesn't sound bad or anything. It's
no,
just
I mean, I think
the internet.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds bad. Like, we've all heard bad voice acting, and this is nowhere near that level of like PS1 stilted JRPG intro and outro, where it's like, we got the guy from finance, we got the guy from HR. You two are voicing the heroes in this game. It's only like 5 minutes, just one take. It'll be fine. It's like, that's the thing I think of when I think of bad voice acting, and this is definitely not that.
Okay.
But yeah, I really like it. I want to keep playing it. I should probably get back to the main story at some point, so I can. I feel like I'm winding up to do the next, like the second dungeon, because the game very much suggests like, we have these 4 areas for you to go do do this one first. And the like Zelda game power you get from finishing the first dungeon, yes, that's exactly the first one you should do, because it is massively helpful. But yeah, I don't know how much more I have to say. Everything else would be like massive, huge spoilers. But it is as good as the internet has been memeing about it, and I'm having a whole lot of fun. Which I
so far game of the year contender.
I think for a lot of
game
people,
of the year contender.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, I try not to. Personally, for me, I try not to think about, oh, this is my game of the year until like for a couple more months, because I don't want to. I have an easy time for me kind of poisoning the well, where I'm like, oh, of course, Tears of the Kingdom is the number one. How could anything beat it? And then like nothing has the chance to, in my mind, for the rest of the year.
Set everything up for failure.
Yeah, exactly. And like maybe I'll play Fuga 2, and that'll be the best game of the year. Like I want to try and give everything kind of its fair shake. But I've been pretty happy with it, and they actually put out a patch this week to fix a quest that had a blocker in it, which I was pretty surprised about. That's a pretty fast turnaround for a Nintendo studio.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. I love it. Highly recommended.
So, apparently, I am also going to give all video games a try by not playing anything new until closer to the end of the year and forcing my way through it.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break. Okay. I gotta go. My kid needs something. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna go see if my my nephew made it to the ER just fine real quick.
Roger that. I'm gonna go check my wallet. Oh wait, no, I can't. Ha 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 ha. Fuck. A celebrity get tickled? I don't know about that. Ticketed? Now that I can go for. Tickled. Tom Holland. Because he's tiny and cute. Oh.
Rammed my damn knee into the door jam.
I do that shit every day, dude.
Oh my god. Well, it doesn't help that my legs are still super sore, so it's like, oh great, now I have this pain on top of the other pain.
Oh, you mean the way it should be?
Yeah. To feel old.
Uh-huh.
Man, I want to watch the next 2 episodes of Supernatural, but I want to give it some breathing room. Only because you spoke highly of them, but I think it needs to be closer to our actual when we record for me to start paying attention.
Oh, I mean, that honestly, that's the thing that I probably struggle with the most is like it's trying to figure out, okay, when is the best time to watch this? Because like right now is kind of good, but also at the same time, it's like I'll fucking forget everything.
Yeah.
By the time it fucking rolls around.
That's why I don't want to do it so close. Usually I do it a week before. Or if I'm really pushing it, I'll do it like the Sunday before, like after we get done recording. Then I would go and watch the two.
That's my usual.
Yeah, and then Thursday I'll usually or Wednesday night, Thursday I'll usually rewatch them just so I can finish out my notes. But
yep, usually I do Sundays after doing all of the usual chores around the house and everything, and then do another quick watch through on the Thursday.
All right.
Wednesday, whatever. Tomato. Welcome back, Boston.
Thank you.
It's a lie.
What's a lie?
To thank you.
Oh.
I know you.
Okay.
Also, I can't recommend this Dr. Pepper enough. Like, it's stupidly delicious.
the strawberry vanilla one, yeah.
I haven't had it yet.
Strawberries and cream, yeah.
Or cream, whatever. I went to Wendy's, and they had the soda machine. They had like the press whatever to mix and match and whatever, and they had that one specifically in there for the
machine.
Freestyle, that's right.
But they had that one specifically in there. It's like, oh yeah, fill up the entire cup with that.
Right. Okay. Are you guys ready to finish this up?
Yes,
sure. Sir. You have a lot of releases this week, apparently.
I really do. Yikes.
I didn't even know that one of them was coming out so soon, too.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Is that the Lord of the Rings Gollum game, by any chance?
No, I knew that was coming out.
Yeah.
The Star Trek Resurgence. I thought that wasn't coming out until way later this year.
Yeah. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of May 22nd, 2023. After Us comes out on the PS5, Series consoles, and PC. This is a third-person indie kind of exploration sort of thing. Looks almost kind of like if that game company's Flower had a person, then you would probably be playing that. So
I was going to say, is this another one of those make things green games that I've been seeing a lot of recently?
Very much so. Yeah.
It's not The Last of Us, it's After Us.
That's right.
It's what happens after The Last of Us.
Yeah.
The Last of Us makes things green again too, but in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Wow. Amnesia: The Bunker comes out PS4, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. This is another Amnesia game. Sure looks spooky. I don't know the difference between them other than that, so I'm certainly not the one to.
After Machine for Pigs, I have no idea what these games even do anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably for the better. I'm sure you want to go into those being surprised more than anything, so.
And also, who left the company with regards to naming games? Because I'm sorry, but you go from A Machine for Pigs to The Bunker.
Yeah,
like, come on,
it's not as good. You gotta keep those names rolling here.
The Bunker for Squirrels or something. I don't know.
That's right. Next up, Convergence, a League of Legends story comes out. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series console, Switch, and PC. This is a neat looking 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up thing.
Tell them the most important thing, Boston. Who made the game?
Oh, you know what? I actually have no idea. Who made this one?
Is this not that one?
No, that one came out a little bit ago. That was the Moonlighter guys.
Okay. There's too many of these games.
Who made this? Let's look. Rewind the past, control the future. Yep. Who made it? Website Double Stallion. I don't know. This is probably
One Stallion is not good enough.
No, gotta get that Double Stallion. Yeah. What else have they made? Speed Brawl and Big Action Mega Fight. I don't recognize either one of those. This one looks cool. Looks like a cool kind of side-scrolling beat 'em up thing, which I appreciate. We don't always get a ton of those. Next up here is Miasma Chronicles. This is it's an XCOM, really. It's got like a half cover, full cover kind of thing. Graphically looks really good. It looks like but it's kind of one of those broken down future sort of things. This looks kind of interesting. I'm curious to see what the reviews are going to be on this one, because I hadn't heard of this one before today, but I feel like we don't always get a ton of XCOM likes. And it's nice when we get one of those.
You thought we would have got it, 10 years ago when the first XCOM, when the remake came out and everybody was like, this is the best thing ever.
Right.
But no. Instead, we had to wait for another XCOM game, a third-person shooter XCOM game.
Forgot about that.
Everyone forgot about that one, didn't they?
Yeah. Gosh. I always wanted to play that, and I never got around to it.
Yes. And then, wait 10 more years, and then all of a sudden you've got Mario's got an XCOM game.
Right.
Marvel's got an XCOM game. And now Miasma has an XCOM game.
Yeah. It's Nextlander was talking about it a while ago about, indie teams getting tired of waiting for developers to make their new things. So it's like, I'll make my own Star Fox. I'll make my own XCOM. I'm going to make my own of this. Like, you guys are going to do it. I'm going to do it. Let's just take care of it. So maybe that's another case of this. So Miasma Chronicles looks pretty cool. Next up here is Planet of Lana, coming out on Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. This is Game Pass day and date. I think we saw this at E3 or something last year, or Tokyo Game Show or something. It's kind of the Blue Sky Limbo-like that has that black cat thing that you're wandering around with. I had kind of forgotten about that until this point, but as soon as I saw gameplay, I was like, oh yeah, right.
Did you just use Limbo and Blue Sky in the same sentence? Because they do not go together.
That's the weird part about this, is it very much does look like that kind of 2D side-scrolling Limbo-like. Someone would probably call it a...
you could have called it Prince of Persia-like.
Yeah, Prince of Persia, a pop-like, if you will. Yeah.
Yes.
So Planet of Lana looks pretty cool.
No. That's not how it went.
No. What?
That was such a deep cut. Boston even didn't get it.
No,
it was the remake of Prince of Persia, the 3D one, when you fell and died, and he was like, no.
Oh, right, I forgot. I liked that game. That was a cool game.
It's so good.
Yeah. Next up is Star Trek Resurgence, comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. Boy, wish this game looked a lot better than it does, because it
looks kind of rough.
Looks real rough, especially when you go to make a decision and the decision tree is really large on the screen. But it seems like they've been working pretty hard on this for a while, and I'm hoping this comes out and is kind of neat, because it's been a real long time since we've gotten a good Star Trek game, if ever. Hey,
Boston, maybe they're just trying to imply that the decisions are big decisions.
That's true. Don't make these decisions lightly. Star Trek stuff.
Hey, I forgot to read my book, so I have to fill in the space with what's left. I forgot it this week.
Right.
You got away with one.
I appreciate it. Next up, everyone gets one. Next up is Hello Neighbor Search and Rescue. This comes out on PSVR, PSVR 2, Quest, and the PC. If you, along with seemingly millions of other people, really love Hello Neighbor, now it's in VR. So seems like,
we're old, right? That's
yeah.
why we don't get the love of this game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's just you're just hiding from the neighbor, right?
Yeah, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like anything, any other kind of weird horror.
But I think,
although it's not really horror from my understanding either, it's just
I think it's
game,
tense.
Basically.
Yeah.
But
I think the thing is, for a lot of these games, I don't mean this negatively, I promise. I think for a lot of these games, they provide good jump scares for streamers and YouTubers.
Kids.
Yeah. And for kids. Yeah. So I think that's a lot of the appeal of it, which is fine, but nothing. It's not a game that I've super been interested in.
Get us up to that next tier on Patreon, and Boston can add this to the Resident Evil Scary Games list.
Get my own jump scares, yeah. Next up, Maquette comes out on the Switch. This came out on PlayStation platforms a couple of years ago, I think. This is the one where you're in the building and everything you manipulate in the model of the building in the middle is replicated on the outside of the building, kind of in real life. You kind of like lay a little piece of wood across something on the model building on the inside. A giant piece of wood, stretches across a chasm on the outside. So apparently it's really cool. I've been meaning to play this. It's a cool game that like my wife and I would play together, and I just haven't had the time yet, unfortunately. Next up, The Case of the Golden Idol comes out on the Switch. Hey,
are you finally going to play this, Boston?
I mean, I'd really like to, because I really liked Return of the Obra Dinn, and apparently this is that again.
Yeah,
just by a different developer.
It's the spiritual successor to Return of the Obra Dinn.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to have really, really, really liked it. So I haven't gotten around to it because I think it was only on PC up to this point.
It was PC exclusive, yes.
Yeah, so maybe. I don't know. People seem to really like it, and it seems like a thing that I would probably dig quite a bit. So we'll see. Next up, Lord of the Rings Gollum comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and Switch. Or sorry, PC, not Switch. That's crazy. I genuinely forgot this was coming out at any point. Nevertheless, right now, until I saw this today. This really still seems like a game that shouldn't be coming out. It's like a 3D behind the back, like kind of, I guess, light Zelda-ish thing, starring really young Gollum, I think.
Okay, so this is just like those stupid imp games or orc games that I got with Games of Gold.
Yeah, probably not as good though, to be mean about it. This is one of those things where it's like,
who do you kill, and then when you kill them, does it change that game feature that everybody loves?
The Nemesis system. Yeah,
that's the one. Thank you.
I would not expect
this
game
is now my
to have
nemesis.
That. Yeah, I don't know. This has always seemed like a game that, why are you doing this? Like, why are you making this thing? Because it doesn't seem like a thing. I don't know. Hopefully it's good, but on paper it certainly does not seem like it. A game that actually seems pretty cool: Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series console, Switch, PC, OS X, and Linux. The kids call them
Doom, but Warhammer, right?
Yeah, kids call them boomer shooters. I hate that, so I'm not going to call it that. But yeah, it is like a 3D Realms build engine Warhammer first-person shooter with all the explosions and body parts and all the nastiness that a game like this really should have. I also
would like to take this moment to remind everybody that to travel faster than light in Warhammer, they open a portal through hell.
Yes.
If this is your kind of game,
it's perfect.
Then go for it.
I had no idea this was coming out, and I'm really happy it is.
I will say it gifts really, really well.
Yeah, just watching people explode because you shot them with whatever nightmare gun that you're using.
If you took out some of the obvious Warhammer stuff in the game, it would just look like Doom, like old school Doom.
Yeah, it's like a Doom total conversion mod. Like it looks really wild. So that's Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun, which is just a really great name for that game.
Hey,
I like it.
The license cost them like 4 cents, so
yeah,
of course they're going to use it.
Might as well make whatever you want. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but the release got delayed of Cassette Beasts. That comes out this week, Xbox One, Series consoles, and Switch. That is Game Pass day and date. That's that Pokemon-like game, but all the monsters are on cassette tapes. So, reviews and previews so far have sounded good.
We joked about it being.
Yeah. Everybody seems to say that it's been really good. So, give that a shot. It's on Game Pass. Let's talk about three very different news stories here.
End with number one. Why you started with the showstopper, I don't know.
All right, let's do them in reverse. Number 3, the next Mortal Kombat game has been announced. It's called Mortal Kombat 1. That's
again.
Again. Yeah, because 92 and like 2011 or something were both Mortal Kombat. So this one isn't called Mortal Kombat. This is literally called Mortal Kombat 1, which is...
So it's a new game, is what you're saying.
It's right. It's right. It's new for the third time.
If it wasn't just such a hellscape these days, I would feel sorry for people who run video game wikis, but at this point, I don't care anymore.
Well,
we're at the point where it's confusing to talk about some games, too.
Right. Well, I really appreciate the wildness of... Yeah, we're going to reset the universe again. We're for like a 5th time. We're going to do it again.
I also like the fact that they basically said they were doing that with the ending of the last game.
Right. It's wild. I mean, it looks good. The fatalities are gory in a way that I'm not sure I'm super comfortable with anymore. The premium edition comes with the skin of Jean-Claude Van Damme because, of course, it does. Why wouldn't it? So you got that. I'm sure the roster is probably leaking as we're recording this episode, so you can probably go Google that, and that's what happens with every fighting game nowadays. So you can go check that out. Mortal Kombat 1.
Can't wait for the scrub quotes.
That's right. Mortal Kombat 1, it's so good we did it thrice. Second news story here, actual number 2. Overwatch 2 is scrapping its original PvE mode. The lead here says...
I laugh because this was the excuse they gave for remaking Overwatch.
Yeah, that was their excuse for doing...
bumping it down.
The second one.
6 to 5, so...
Right. Yeah, right. Like, it seems
this was
to
the
be...
whole reason for this game.
You're right, for Overwatch 2, like... We'll talk about it here in a minute, but he says, quote, with everything we've learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear we can't deliver on that original version of PvE that was shown in 2019. What this means is that we won't be delivering that dedicated hero mode, the talent trees, that long-term power progression. Those things just aren't in our plans anymore, end quote.
But thanks for the money.
Yeah, essentially, that mode is sort of dead. There's a small silver lining here, saying, quote, going forward, though, rather than doing a big one-time PvE release, rather than pouring all of our efforts into these singular releases, we're planning to make co-op gameplay and co-op experiences just part of our regular live roadmap. So we want you to be able to experience it more often and with more variety than we had originally announced, end quote. So it seems like they're adding... as part of their seasonal model, smaller PvE experiences more regularly, but without the kind of meta progression and hero classes and stuff like that that was the reason they were making Overwatch 2.
So why don't they just... I mean, this is Blizzard. They have enough money. Why don't they just hire the guys who made... the Warhammer 40k hero shooter co-op game to do the same in their engine?
This whole thing is baffling because the reason why they say they're cutting this is because they kept developing it and working on it, and the end never got closer, which is literally the definition of feature creep, but okay. So their idea was, we'll just cut it and continue to work on smaller releases, kind of like how Destiny does, where it's like, here's a new activity for these next 3 months, and then it goes away, and here's another smaller one. But this has to be like one of the biggest bag fumbles in video game history, because you had the largest hero shooter on the planet in Overwatch 1, and you largely stopped developing it for a sequel that nobody wanted, with a feature that sounded pretty cool, and now you're canceling that. You have poisoned the well with Overwatch 2 due to extreme monetization, and you have shut down Overwatch 1, which was free to play, for Overwatch 2, which has firmly fallen flat on its face. Like, all you needed to do was keep developing Overwatch 1, and you would have just taken the industry. It's so baffling.
Because putting it up to this and being like, well, we couldn't do anything about this, now we're going to listen to what you want. It's like, you haven't been listening to what the fan base has wanted in years. Why are you all of a sudden caring about what the fan base thinks?
They didn't want Overwatch 2. They wanted to keep playing Overwatch 1, which was in a good spot.
Yeah.
Like, I just...
Like, I don't understand why they didn't just have a separate development team working on Overwatch PvE or whatever and release it as a standalone. Like,
I
Resident
think
Evil, I think it's 7, has a PvP mode.
Oh, right.
That's a separate install that you don't have to install with the game. Just make it a separate thing and install it by itself.
I think that was the question that everybody had when it came out, and everyone was like, and Blizzard was largely like, well, I mean, jangly keys, here you go, look at this, hee. So, like, everything surrounding Overwatch 2 has just been a boondoggle in a way that's really a bummer. I'm not a Overwatch player, but it very clearly seemed like you have one of the biggest hit free-to-play games in the world that everybody unironically loves, and you just stopped making it.
Yeah.
And then you killed it.
Everyone I know who's associated with video games who likes Overwatch had an opinion about this news.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it was all bad.
Yeah. It's so wild to have it be so universally disliked. And I gotta give Timur Hussein over at GameSpot a lot of credit. He did an interview with him where he really put the pressure on him. It's like, hey man, this is you did this to make Overwatch 2. Like, this was the promise. What happened? Like, what are you doing? And he really put the pressure on him in a way that we unfortunately don't see.
Honestly, because now that opens it up to... It's always a slippery slope thing. But we already have issues with games releasing incomplete as it is, and now we have to deal with game features maybe just never coming out, whether or not that's the reason you bought a game now or not. It's like, really?
And honestly,
so I'm buying a product that may not be the product that I was told it was going to be now.
And honestly, if they had kept this free to play as well, then PvE doesn't come out and it's like, all right, that's fine. I didn't pay anything for it. Yeah, I put some money in loot boxes or I bought some characters, but all right, I still enjoy Overwatch 2. But it's like, all right, so I paid $60 to not get everything, and you have loot boxes that are way worse than the first one, which were really bad, and now you're not shipping the feature that Overwatch 2 had, so what? It's wild.
Yeah.
Make the other choice when Blizzard. Just make the other choice when you're provided with two choices, because you're just not making the right ones at this point. And yeah, game development is hard, and I'm sure the team doesn't want to cancel this either. But come on, like this is a bummer on nearly every level.
Well, and that's the thing. It's not like this is like a studio and this is their first big release that they've had. And their only income was people buying this game. Like you were saying, there were loot crates in this game.
Yeah.
So they're getting steady income. So for them to come up with some BS thing like this was like, it was difficult, guys. Yeah, so's life.
Yeah, like that's what video games are. Like,
this is what you turned it into. Don't tell me it's difficult. Do it.
It's wild. And last news story here, news story number 1. Nicolas Cage will be in Dead by Daylight.
Talking about a guy who's doing it.
You're talking about a guy who's in literally everything. I gotta say, they released that trailer. That's a really good digital trailer. Nick Cage.
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, no,
I think.
I mean, it is, and it's real.
I mean, yeah, not in a bad way. I mean, like I saw it on TikTok, and I thought like someone just threw this thing together.
Right.
I was like,
learned Blender.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My instant response to this was, I hope that it's a 5-pack, and Nicolas Cage is the killer and 4 variations of him as a survivor.
That'd be so good. The Nicolas Cages through the ages.
Yeah, like this is escaped con Nicolas Cage.
Right.
This is lawyer Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
This is Cop as a
Rider,
criminal,
Nicolas
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
Ghost Rider would be the killer version. This
Yeah.
is
That's right.
Hellspawn Nicolas Cage.
that's right. Either that or you go all the way to the other side with it, and it's just regular Nicolas Cage hanging on hooks. Just like him in
Yes.
like a jacket and jeans. And it's just like, it's me. I'm Nicolas Cage.
From the movie the problem with absolute grace or whatever it is, the one he did with the Mandalorian fella, where he's a
The
super
one
fan of
about
Nicolas
him.
Cage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be so good.
I
want 5 Nicolas Cages. Like I need.
Yeah,
I need
that would be
5.
really good. And I also like that the end of their trailer is just like, yeah, check back in like July. We'll have more news. It's like, yes, I'll do that. You have told me exactly all I need to know.
It's a really good trailer. It
Yeah.
really is.
It's really great. Top news story of 2023 for sure. All right. That's all of our news stories for this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including a link to our Patreon page, patreon.com/E1M1.
Those ones are the numerical digits.
Told you all the cool episodes you get at the top of the episode. Your financial support helps this show run. It's these episodes. This hosting is so expensive now. It keeps going up. It's the worst. So you help me not worry about how to pay for all of that and software and all of that stuff. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Tell a friend about the show and how much you love it. Don't be like, yeah, this is the worst podcast I've ever listened to. Let's hate listen to it. I still appreciate your downloads. But you can tell a friend, share on social media, rate this, 5 stars or likes or hearts or rainbows or whatever is on your social media platform or podcatcher. Anything less than a perfect score is not something we're interested in. Thank you. Don't be like, I can't believe they support trans rights. And it's like, yeah, well, you should too, you jerk.
How about instead of posting, if you have things to constructively criticize about, not any of that BS, send us an email.
Yeah.
Send us let's have a conversation about this in Discord or via email or on the show.
tvgpfans@gmail.com.
There you go.
Send it on over there. All right, I think that's it for this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
I only got one title this week. Hopefully, you guys got some.
I got a couple.
All right.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Start us off, Nimp.
Because Moon started the pre-show with a hot banger, going with Fasten Your Seatbelts.
That's right.
It still should be the name of it.
100%.
It got better when I gave up. And the real Zelda starts here.
I gave up. All right, Moon, what do you have?
8 cubers. The Bants is real. Just like that. So much XP. All I had to do was give up. What if I get an invader? Rotational force. The real Zelda starts here. The bunker for squirrels. So good we did it thrice. And the definition of feature creep.
Man, we had some good ones this week. I wrote down play things and do stuff. It got better when I gave up. The real Zelda starts here. And what if I get an invader? Is there anything that's really jumping out to you guys?
I like so good we did it thrice should be added to that list too, Boston. Come on.
So good we did it thrice?
Uh-huh.
All of us had the real Zelda starts here on our list. I feel like that's probably
probably a strong one.
A strong leader.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think that gets my vote. Oh,
I'm ready.
Oh, circle. Wow. All right. I hadn't even circled it. Man, we're on top of it.
So how do you already have something?
Because it's a dumb joke.
So I think my monster's already wearing off.
I was gonna say he's just that good.
All right.
Migraines, hell of a drug.
That's right. That's right. All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 813 for May 22nd, 2023. The real Zelda starts here.
It's dangerous to go alone. Good luck.
We're just going to retcon the last 35 years.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it, as we do every week, and we hope you'll join us next week. Bye.
Bye.